So, step number 4 is about identifying your beliefs. Now, this is quite a big step and there's a lot of information. And I hope by now that you are reading the book as well as following the steps, because there's a lot of information that is available in the book as well. And of course, reading the book is part of the course, which means that you've got to read it if you want to be assessed and certified. So, but there is a lot more explanation in the book. So I'm going to encourage you to read this section in the book about your beliefs, but I'm going to explain a little bit more here about the mind, because that's where your beliefs come from. So when I talk about beliefs, I'm talking about the kind of beliefs about yourself, about others, and about the world in general. So I'm not talking about religious beliefs at all here. It's all those things about how you feel about yourself and what you believe about yourself and what you think you can do, what you think you can't do. Do you think you're good enough? Do you believe you're a good person? Do you believe you're a bad person? Do you believe... So all of those things, and about, as I said, about others and the world in general. Now, this is such an important step. It's such a crucial part about becoming emotionally intelligent. And I'm not saying that one step is more important than the other, but your beliefs are what rule your life. Now, we've looked at values, we've looked at needs, which are things that you can become aware of quite quickly and quite easily, but beliefs are actually like little software programs that rule your life. And I just want to show you this next slide just to illustrate a little bit more about how the mind works. Now, for those of you who are already coaches or have been in this field, I know that you've probably all seen this graphic. I think it's been overused so many times already, but it is a fantastic indicator of how your mind works and how your beliefs work. So I'm going to get a little bit technical here, but I'm sure that you can follow on. So your mind, basically, you can look at your mind as the software. It's almost like it's the boss. It's the pilot that runs everything in your body and has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself and about your emotions, as well as a whole bunch of other things that happen. And your brain is like the hardware. So when you look at your computer or your laptop, you have the hardware, and then you download Windows, and then Windows tells your computer what to do. And they kind of work in conjunction, but Windows kind of is the operating system. So your mind is very much the same thing for your brain and your body and your emotions and a whole bunch of things. But here's the thing, that more than 90% of your mind is unconscious. We don't actually remember and know what is in your unconscious mind. I mean, I can tell you how to access it, but what I mean is we don't consciously know what is in our mind. So I'm going to explain a little bit further. So you have 3 levels of consciousness. So in fact, there's 4. They now talk about supraconscious as well. But when we're looking at your human mind, the human psyche, your unconscious mind is more than 90% unconscious. Then you have something called the subconscious, which is just below conscious. Now, your subconscious is the part of, you know, when you have your keys or a pen or whatever, and you put it down and then you can't remember where you put it. But then you ask yourself a couple of times and then you remember, oh yes, I put it in the kitchen. That information, where you had put your keys or the pen or whatever the case may be, that information was stored in your subconscious mind so that you can access it easily. Your conscious mind is being aware of what's happening here and now in this present moment. You are talking or you are listening. I'm talking, you listening. That is the conscious mind. The unconscious mind is where you house all your beliefs, all your programs, all the learning that you've had over the years, and you don't have access to it easily, should I say. So think about it this way. So when you learn to ride a bicycle, so it's all the skills that you learned. So when you learn to ride a bicycle, when you learn to ride a car, when you were riding a bike, you were actively, you were consciously telling your body to put your one foot on the right pedal, then put the left one on the left pedal, and then to stand on that pedal and to make the bicycle move, and obviously to put your one hand on the right hand handlebar and your left hand on the left hand side of the handlebars. So you had to consciously tell yourself. But then when you became used to that and you practiced a lot, you didn't have to consciously tell yourself to do that anymore, because that information then moves down into the unconscious mind, and it then just runs. It just happens, very much like when you download software onto your computer. You don't have to say to it, listen, I want you to open that window, I want you to store that, I want you to run this in the background. You don't have to do that. And that's exactly what happens with your mind. You install programs based on your beliefs and the skills that you have learned, and then it kind of just runs in the background. It's the same as if you drive a car and you ride the same, or you drive the same route every single day. You kind of sometimes end up at work and you go, gosh, I don't remember the trip, or I can't remember getting here, or because you'd been focusing on something else. You'd been thinking about something else, because your mind and your body knew what it was doing. So it just ran on unconscious. So why this is so important for you to know is because that is why so many people are not emotionally intelligent at the moment. That's why there's been so many problems with education. That's why there's been so many problems with parenting and with health issues and a whole bunch of other things, because people haven't been consciously aware of it. It's only in the past 15, 20 years or so that we've become conscious and gone, goodness gracious, we need to pay attention to this, because we are living our lives on autopilot. We are parenting on autopilot. We're just doing what our parents did. We're not actively thinking, well, just because my parents did that doesn't make it right. If you look back in the days when women were still being raped by their husbands because they were seen as property and ownership, nobody thought it was wrong. But now we're going, no, spousal rape is illegal. It's not okay. Beating your child in the past was okay, but now science is showing how bad it is for children. So we've become conscious about that, and we've gone, well, no, we're not doing that anymore, because we now have become more conscious. More and more people are becoming conscious that light has been switched on. And part of becoming conscious is understanding what is in your unconscious mind. What beliefs do you have? What beliefs are irrational? Which of them are irrational? What beliefs are running and ruling your life and making you feel miserable and unhappy? So it's very important to know how to access those beliefs so that you can change them. Now, this is where emotional intelligence comes in, because the only way that you can access your unconscious mind is through your emotions. There's no other way of doing it, because it's unconscious. You don't know what is there. But when you become aware of your emotions and you start feeling unhappy, and you start realizing you're feeling unhappy or miserable, and you start taking notice of your actions and your behavior based on those emotions, it gives you an indication of what your beliefs are. Why it's so important to become aware of what your beliefs are is because your beliefs can sabotage you. They can keep you from progressing in life. It can keep you from being successful. It can keep you from having a happy relationship. They can keep you from making lots of money. They can, your beliefs can hold you back in so many different ways, because your mind becomes your protector. Your mind remembers the pain that has been created in the past when you've had a failure, when you've had a trauma. So what the mind does, it holds onto that information and it sabotages you from moving forward, because in its own crazy way of operating, it believes that it's keeping you safe. Your mind is your protector. It's almost like your big bouncer, because it thinks that, I don't want her to go through so much pain again, and therefore I'm going to hold on to this information. I'm going to hold on to this belief, and I'm going to hold her back from doing this new thing because it might cause her pain. So in the activities under this section, I want you to pay close attention to your beliefs, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about other people, what you believe about the world and about relationships, and go with that which comes up instantly. So I don't want you to overthink it, because often the first answer is the right answer. You don't want to think rationally. This is not about being right or wrong. This is about being real, what you believe about yourself and others in the world, because you can't change that which you do not own, which you are not aware of. And if you want to progress in life, it's very important that you are transparent and that you are able to recognize and acknowledge what your beliefs are so that you can move forward. So I don't want you to judge yourself about what you believe. I don't want you to feel bad about it, because beliefs just are. But the wonderful news about it is that once you know what they are and you acknowledge and recognize them, it means that you can change them. And I'm going to show you how to change them as well. But as I said, I need you to read the whole chapter, or should I say the section about beliefs and unconscious beliefs, because there's a little bit more information there about how the brain works and how you can create beliefs without you even knowing it. We have something called the 20-second mind up, and then also going on to explain the brain and the different brain waves, because the brain operates on frequencies and on brain waves very much like a radio station does. So please make sure that you read the section on the theta waves, the delta waves, the alpha waves, so that you have a deeper understanding of how unconscious beliefs can be created without even your knowledge. Very, very interesting subject. So make sure that you read that section. Make sure that you do all the activities before you come back and move on to step 5.